Hey everybody, Raymond here. Interesting topic today, and I want to be really careful because I'm talking about something that I've been running into on the Z6, but it's not necessarily a complaint about the camera. I love working with the camera. The image quality has been impeccable, and it's done everything that I've asked it to do. However, I've been running into one small thing, and I thought it was me, and let me tell you what it is. While I've been out shooting with it and making changes to the way I've been shooting and some settings on the camera, I look later on or I notice that something has changed, and for the life of me I can't figure out why my settings have changed. Well, I've actually figured out what was happening through brute force and going through my process again and again to see what was going on. And there's three different things that I ran into that were causing me issues, and in one case very rightfully causing my settings to revert, and the other two I'm going to want your opinions on. I've got my own opinions and I'll be maybe a little tough on one in particular, but this is a new camera for me. The cameras we've owned have not had the U1, U2, U3 type setup. And some of the things, actually all of the things I'm talking about today, involve that U1, U2, and U3 setup in some way. And those are where you can save a set of your camera settings so you can recall them very quickly. You could have one for action, one for wildlife, one for landscape, and switch back and forth between them. If nothing else, this video will let you know some of the potential pitfalls that you yourself might run into as you're switching between those modes and the normal PASM on the camera dial. So let's get right into it. And I have a helper here today working the camera for me. Here we are in the back of the camera, and I'm setting up U3 with a particular set of settings that I'd like to use. One of those settings is notably AFS, single servo autofocus. I'm going to set that using the info screen and then lock in my settings to U3. Now, ad hoc, I like shooting by the seat of my pants. Ad hoc, I change it to continuous autofocus on the info screen, AFC. So I'm walking around and I'm on AFC. Then I decide to switch to U2 to use different settings, and I enjoy those for a while. Then I switch back to U3, we hit the info button, and I'm back to AFS. So one thing that I was doing without realizing it is I was making ad hoc changes to U3, not locking them in, changing to a different mode, going back to U3, and yes, my setting for focus was back to AFS. So this was just me working too quickly with a new camera, and totally on me that I was saying, well, wait, I thought I had set AFC. Well, I did that before I went from U3 to U2 and then back again. Now this next one, this one really got me a couple times because let's do that again. Let's go to we're over on U3, and we're going to lock in AFS. Now we'll make an ad hoc change to AFC, continuous servo autofocus. If you turn the camera off and then back on very quickly, it will be still in AFC, our ad hoc change. If you turn the camera off for a few seconds and do something like change a lens, when you turn the camera back on, the setting will revert back to the setting that was locked in. Now, it's not normal to turn the camera off and turn it back on quickly. You might, by accident, you turn it off, then you realize you want a shot real quick. Well, there's a slightly different behavior when you turn it off and back on quickly, then it won't revert back. It'll keep your ad hoc change. But if you turn the camera off and do something like change a lens, by the time you've turned it back on, you're reverted back to what you've locked in. So where this got me was I had ad hoc set it to continuous, changed a lens, and then I was shooting for a minute and I said, wait a minute, how come I'm still not in continuous? And I couldn't figure it out. I had sworn something had gone wrong, and I'm not sure. I'm not a camera designer, so I'm not sure what should have happened there, so I'm interested in your opinions. Now finally, this third one, and this one really got me too, because the video that I filmed for Tuesday, I wanted to show off as a 4K video, and shoot it at 24p like I like to do for my videos. Instead, I accidentally shot it at 1080p, 60 frames per second, but I had sworn I had set up the camera for 4K and 24p. And here's what happened. I was on U3 and I changed the video setting from 1080p or whatever it was on to 4K, 24 frames per second. Then, in setting up the studio and getting the lighting right, Leigh and I decided to change the camera over to manual. When you do that, the video mode and probably many other settings change to what you had last set them on when you were in one of the PASM modes. It doesn't keep what you had when you were on U3. I can understand if I had started at U1 and then gone to U2 and U3 on the way to M, but I went straight from U3 to M and it changed back to everything that had been set when we last had the camera on manual. I don't know how I feel about that. I can see that there's advantages and disadvantages. The reason I bring it up today is it's something to be aware of as you're using the top dial. Stop and think for a minute. What did the dial change that I just do to my settings? Okay guys, I want to be clear. I'm not complaining about the camera. I'm not saying that Nikon screwed up. I do wish one or two of those items worked a little bit different, but it's something I'm going to get used to. I bring it up today because I know many of you have the Z6 or the Z7. You might run into the same thing. You might be saying, oh, poor Raymond, of course that's the way that it works. And that's fine. That's fine. You can leave a comment on that. But maybe some of you are getting a handle on it, and maybe some of you will run into the same kind of unexpected setting changes that I ran into. So I just wanted to bring that up today and show you what I had encountered. If there's other things that I haven't considered in this video that might change my settings, let me know down in the comments. I want to know so that as I'm getting my hands around this camera for a review of this camera, I know as much as possible about it and its tendencies and just the way that it works. Thanks everybody. Talk to you next time.